ludicrously, stupendously, mind-warpingly fast. Wow! Hi everybody and welcome back. I am your host Chase Bierenkoven. That is the 2025 Mercedes-AMG E53 Hybrid and this is the Overrun. So what is the Mercedes-AMG E53? Well, what you do need to know is that this is a plug-in hybrid and a luxury sports car. It is a thoroughly modern take on an old German favorite, the big, fast luxury saloon. And today in our video, we're going to cover what makes it so modern, what makes it a good or bad hybrid, and all of the new changes for the Mercedes E-Class, because there are a lot based on the E-Class. There's new styling, there's a new interior, there's new MBUX infotainment software, and a whole bunch of other stuff that we're going to get to in today's video. Let's start with the looks, because that is obviously the first thing that you see when you look at the car. This is the new E-Class, and that means that there are a lot of new updates over the previous E-Class. There's a new front fascia, new lights, and a few other changes. And in addition to that, there are also AMG-specific changes that the eagle-eyed car enthusiasts should be able to spot. For one, there's the super cool, historic Affalterbach AMG badge. There's also an illuminated grille with AMG badging. And moving down the side, there are more AMG specific changes here. For one, these fenders are actually wider because this car has a wider track than the standard E-Class. Moreover, there are 21-inch wheels. Those are optional. The standards are 20 with super sticky Michelin Pilot Sport tires and bigger brakes. Now, the bigger brakes are not standard on the E53 AMG, but this is the pinnacle trim with the AMG Dynamic Plus package, and that gets you bigger brakes among some other changes we're gonna get to a little later in the video. For now, we're gonna keep going down the side here. Let's talk about these badges here. There's really cool turbo hybrid badging here with these little shark fin grille things. There's also a model-specific side skirt here, which helps it look a little bit more and then, of course, there's a little more back here with the super big, cool ducktail spoiler, which I actually really like. And back here, there's more E-Class stuff. There's these really, really cool looking taillights back here that are kind of a riff on the Mercedes three-pointed star. I think those look great. There is, of course, AMG badging, and then on the right-hand side, there's an E53 badge with some cool red accents. Let's talk powertrain, because there is a lot going on here. For one, I just want to start out by pointing out that Mercedes, probably very intentionally, although they'll never admit to it, is making this engine cover look like a V8, which I think is really funny, because this is an inline six-cylinder plug-in hybrid with a turbocharger. So you get 161 horsepower from the electric motor, and then you get 577 horsepower total and 533 pounds-feet of torque total. You also get, in race start mode, which is a sort of launch control mode, 604 horsepower, and it is rapid. 0 to 60 is 3.9 seconds. It is really crazy, horrifying quick. It's a 9-speed automatic transmission driving this car, and of course, it's all-wheel drive. And this also has 4-wheel steering, and on top of that, there is also the AMG Dynamic Plus package, which is A, extremely pricey at $3,150, and B, gets you quite a lot. You get bigger brakes, an eLSD, and on top of that, a few other little touches on the interior, and most importantly, you also get a ton of different drive mode select options. This car has a staggering array of drive modes, from snow to battery to electric to comfort to Sport Plus to individual. It is so very much, and there is so much going on with this powertrain. So let's talk about what it's like inside the new E53 AMG, and hence the new E-Class, because a lot of the stuff in here is just straight out of the E-Class with a little AMG sprinkled on top. For instance, the seats, which are quite pricey, they're also quite adjustable. You can get a lot of fore and aft adjustment, and you can inflate and deflate the bolsters. I think they're super comfortable in this trim level. They're also ventilated, which is great because it's going to be super hot today. Moving on, I want to talk a little bit more about the infotainment system, because I kind of have to do the journalist thing and shake my fist a bit. It's not my favorite. There are not even buttons here for changing the temperature. In order to change the temperature, you have to tap the screen and then do this or slide it or whatever, right? There should just be a button here for that. There are, however, some buttons that are all haptic in other places, like for the parking camera, for the charging menus, and a few other things. My other big problem with the infotainment, and then I'll stop complaining, is that this wheel is really fat, and it sort of forces your hands inboard, and you'll accidentally hit some of the controls on the side like you would in the new Volkswagen Golf GTI. But other than that, this is a very nice interior. It feels very much up to its price point, and on top of that, the material selection in here feels very special. And when you're paying more than 6 figures for a luxury sports car, this has to feel special, and this one certainly does. Let's also talk about rear seat space, because this is supposed to be a practical daily driver too. There's a good amount of headroom because these seats are pushed low into the floor. That's because the battery for the hybrid system is actually in the trunk and not under the rear seats like you would find it in other cars. That said, I have a ton of leg room. I'm sitting behind myself right now, and I can stretch out, relax. These are super comfortable back seats. Before starting our shoot, I hadn't sat back here. This is the first time I've sat back here. I'm really, really impressed with how comfy, squishy these seats are. There's actually a really great amount of lumbar support back here. I feel really comfortable. And in this Pinnacle trim, there's also 4-zone climate control, which is super nice, and you get your own little bit of sunroof segment. Back here, it's really, really nice, and there definitely doesn't feel like there is a drop-off in materials quality at all. This is a great place to spend time. So back here, you will find 13.1 cubic feet of trunk space. You can see we've got a couple of objects back here for scale. The trunk is decently deep. However, if you think that 13.1 sounds a little bit small for a big luxury sedan, you would be right, and I'll explain why. You see the load floor here is totally flat. Now that's great for loading large objects, which you can pass through the seats by hitting the button here. However, the flat floor is there because there's a giant hunk of lithium under here. This is where the battery lives, and the end result is that you lose some cargo space, to the battery, and it's definitely worth considering. So with this being a plug-in hybrid, I want to tell you a little bit more about the charging experience. You pop the door open here. Note that this is just the charging door. The fuel door is on the other side. You'll have to learn that. I made that mistake a few times and had to repark the car. This is, of course, a CCS combo port, and it will charge at up to 60 kilowatts, which, given the relatively small size of this battery, is really, really, really fast. Mercedes also includes a little 3-prong plug-in, use-at-home charger system, cable rather, in the trunk that you can use to charge just about anywhere, although of course it's going to charge a lot slower than that 60 kilowatts. So let's talk pricing too, because the E53 AMG sits in kind of a weird spot. You see, cars like the Audi S7 are cheaper, but also underpowered. That car makes 444 horsepower, and the E53 AMG lineup starts at $88,000, which is relatively close to that S7's price. However, this car is a Pinnacle trim, which starts at $93,000, and with options, this car is $113,000, which puts it within spitting distance of way, way more competent super sedans, like the Cadillac CT5 Blackwing, its supercharged 668 horsepower V8, and of course the new BMW M5. And eventually there will be an E63 AMG that will probably be a much better rival for those cars. But this thing for now sits in kind of a strange place, but that doesn't stop us from driving it, and we're going to get to that right now. I am going to demonstrate to you right now in real time what is so great, my favorite thing in fact, about the E53 AMG Hybrid. Right now, you're cruising along at a brisk 25 miles per hour in all-electric mode. And it will run like this until the battery is depleted, and then you can throw it on the charger and do it again tomorrow. And conceivably, if you really felt like it, go the car's life without ever turning it on. But this is an AMG, isn't it? And so we flip this little dial down here over to my preferred individual mode, and everything wakes up. And then, to use the old cliche, it becomes Frankenstein's monster with just a little bit of electricity to it because, of course, it's a plug-in. So, how's the E53 AMG drive? Well, it drives like a big, fast German luxury car. And that means, of course, that it's quite loud, it's quite heavy at 5,300 pounds, and it's also ludicrously, stupendously, mind-warpingly fast. Wow! That That was a lot of body roll because I have the suspension set in a slightly softer but more sporty setting. This thing is so much fun at speed, but I definitely have some critiques of the way it goes fast. Oh, this guy gave us room. We have to wave. Everybody say thank you to the nice gentleman that let us go by and continue filming our video. So, anyway, I have some critiques. For one, zero steering feel. None. Completely bankrupted feeling. I have no idea what's going on with the front wheels, or for that matter, the chassis, until I'm right at the ragged edge. Now, luckily, you can kind of slacken off the traction control to a half measure, which lets you have a little bit of fun with the 577 horsepower, or 604 at launch, right? And it is fun, but it's also, as is the critique of these big, fast German cars, really heavy and kind of devoid of feeling at pace. But is it enough to have some fun and get yourself into a lot of trouble? Oh yes. You can get yourself into a lot of trouble in this car because it is so grippy and so fast. These huge Pilot Sport 4S tires provide you with all the grip you could ever need. These big 6-piston front Brembo brakes give you all the stopping power you could ever want, and you could stay up here on the mountain and make noise all day. And then, when you're ready to go home, all you have to do is come over to this little dial and give it a twist. And it relaxes. And it's just a commuter. And yes, there are still some AMG things about the way that it commutes. There's a little bit of tire noise. The suspension, and especially you feel it from the sidewall and the tires, is just a touch stiff, but it straddles that balance so beautifully that I can almost forgive the atrocious steering. Does it inspire me? Does it make me love cars again? No. Is it good? Is it a good plug-in hybrid sports car? Yes, it very much is. I enjoy the experience of going from all-electric cruise and back into kill mode. Bang! That was a big shift. It's super fun, man. And I think that that's really all there is to this driving experience. And so it's time to cut myself off before I get to ranting and wrap this video up. Final thoughts on the Mercedes-AMG E53 hybrid. I think that the hybrid part of that name is the most compelling reason to buy one of these cars. These big luxury German sports sedans are known for their split personalities, and they have been since their inception. Now, 25 years ago, the solution to getting you that split personality would have been some adaptive dampers and the biggest dang engine you make, as well as your pick, a manual or an automatic transmission. Now, the formula is a little bit different with the E53 AMG, and I like the formula. I love, as I said in my driving impressions, the split personality between rolling around on battery power and then being able to crank the car up and go really, really, really fast whenever you want. The power is staggering. The grip is staggering. There's so much customization. It is almost daunting. And really, honestly, if you want something like that, there's not something that's comparable to the E53 AMG in existence right now. As we said in our competition segment, a lot of its other rivals are not plug-in hybrids. And so if you want a fast, engaging, fun, plug-in hybrid sports sedan, well, you kind of have to buy an E53 AMG. And with that said, I have to do the spiel. Please, guys, remember to like and subscribe because that helps the channel grow. It helps us get cool cars like the AMG E53, and it helps us keep doing what we love. And thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.